Welcome again. We'll be now resuming our revision, and this is part 2 of a 2-part series. Alright, we'll now be looking at conversion. Find the fraction equivalent of 0.35. All we're going to simply do is remember our place value chart. So we know that 0 is in its ones place, 3 is in its 10th place, and 5 is in its 100th place. So if we're going to change this to a fraction, all we need to do is remember our last place value, which is the 100th place. So in turn, 35 will be placed over 100, which means the same thing as 0.35. Alright, and then looking at this number, we can simply simplify this by using 5. So 5 into 35 would give us 7. 5 into 100 will give us 20. So our final answer should be 7/20. Let's look at the opposite. So we're going to this time change a decimal, find a decimal equivalent, I should say, and we're going to do this very easily, because since we can change fraction to decimal, we can change decimal to fraction. Alright, so then we have 1/4. All we need to do is do what the fraction is telling us to do. For all of you who have experience with fraction, the fraction bar is basically similar to a division sign. Alright, if you ever wondered why the division sign looks like this, let me tell you now. It's basically a fraction. Alright, and those dots are basically any random number that you may be thinking of dividing. But here we don't have a random number, we have our exact numbers, which are 1/4. And if you were to replace these dots with 1 and 4, we'll get back this. Alright, so that's a little trick or note that you can memorize. Alright, let's erase this. So to find out the answer, we're going to simply divide 4 into 1. Since we can't divide 4 into 1, we're going to have to move over a place value, and we're going to change from whole to the now decimal. So we're going to put our decimal point and add a 0. So then now we can start dividing. 4 into 10 goes 2 times. 4 2 is 8, which leaves 2. Then we're going to add another 0. 4 into 20 goes 5 times. 4 5 is 20, which leaves nothing. So that means our answer is 0.25. Beautiful. But we're not finished. We have in brackets that we need to have our answer in one significant figure. So if we remember our rules for significant figures, we can count and see that we have 2 significant figures present. So we have significant figure 1 and significant figure 2. Alright, and we're going to round to basically one significant figure. So very simple. When we round, we should get 0.3. If you remember our rules of rounding, when we look to our next door neighbor, which is 5, once that number is 5 or more, we add 1. But if it is 4 or less, we keep it the same. Alright, so we add 1 to the 2 and everything afterwards will turn to 0, or we basically remove it. Alright, so let's continue to standard form. So we have 2.43 multiplied by 10 to the third power plus 5.26 multiplied by 10 to the second power. So looking at this question, let us just separate it a little bit using brackets. Remember, in our Bombus rule, multiply first, brackets of multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. So we're going to separate our multiplication, and then when we multiply out our numbers, then we will simply add. So there are many ways to finding this answer. We could have used some rules that comes with standard form, but you could also use this rule, which is just the simpler one. Most people get this quicker, so we're going to use this one, where we're going to use the bomb dash rule and multiply out what needs to be multiplied, and then what is left we're going to add. So 2.43 times 10 to the third power and if we change 10 to the third power into its exact value, we would get 1,000. Then we have plus 5.26 multiplied by 10 to the second power, and if we change the 10 to the second power to its exact value, we'll get 100. So then when we multiply them out, the decimal point will move 3 times to the right for 2.43, which gives us our new number 2,430. Then we're going to add 5.26 multiplied by 100. This will cause the decimal point to move over to the right 2 times. So then our new number is 526. So we're going to add. Let me fix that up a little bit. Alright, let me do that again. Alright, let's go. 5 to 6. So 0 plus 6 gives us 6. 3 plus 2 gives us 5. 4 plus 5 gives us 9. 2 plus nothing, 2. And that is our final answer. Very simple. Alright, let's move on to substitution of expression. So here we have Q. If Q equal 8 and R equal 2, then what does this expression works out to? So all we're going to need to do is substitute our Q and R for its numeric counterpart. Alright, so Q is equal to 8. So our new expression should look like this. Q plus R in brackets, so we're going to instead have our numeric counterpart, which is 8 and 2. 8 plus 2 in brackets, I remember our power on the outside, and then our negative R will then change to negative 2. Alright, so then our answer would be 8 plus 2, which gives us 10 in brackets. And then if we were to evaluate, sorry, let me erase that. If we were to evaluate the 10 to the second power, we will get 100, because 10 multiplied by itself gives us 100 divided by negative 2. So that means our final answer would be 100 divided by negative 2, and we all know that 100 divided by 2 is 50. But remember, we have a negative sign, so it will then be negative 50. Alright, that is our final answer. Alright, thank you for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe and share this video.